Let's make some buffalo check on a circle. So for my circle, I chose, of course, a Dollar Tree pizza pan. I took the sticker off and it had a little bit of residue left. And so this is a little tip. Just take your heat gun and use it to get the glue to lift up. And once it melts, you can wipe it right off. So I'm just using some chalk paint here, the Waverly chalk paint. I'm just gonna paint the base color for our buffalo check pizza pan. I chose white because I'm gonna do a black and white buffalo check pattern. I'm gonna use my heat gun again just to dry between every single section. Now you need to measure your circle in half and put your first piece of tape right down the center. Take another piece of tape and line it up directly next to the piece that you put in the center, and then take a third piece and repeat that process. Now you're going to take the middle piece that you put down, that second piece, and peel it up. And this is how you're going to make your stripes for the buffalo check pattern. Once you get all of the stripes with the tape in place, make sure that your surface is dry so that when you pull up your tape, it does not pull up any of your paint on the base. Repeat this for the second side until your entire circle is covered with your striped tape. Now this is just frog tape. You can use any painter's tape. Just make sure that it is tape that is not very tacky. So again, it does not pull up the original paint that you put on the base of your circle. And notice I am putting tape all the way to the corner and I'm leaving the corner covered, just kind of pushing it into the grooves. Now we're going to take our first color, the lighter color that you choose. I went with a gray chalk paint here for the stripes. And just paint between each one of your pieces of tape until they are all covered. And then of course, I'm going to take my heat gun again and make sure that this layer gets dried as well. Once we're finished with that, we're going to pull up those first set of tape strips. This will reveal the white and the gray stripes that we just made. And don't worry about it being messy because this will all get cleaned up. Go ahead and hit it with the heat gun and make sure that these stripes are completely dry before we add our next section of tape strips. I'm going to measure again so I make sure and get it right, but we're going to put this second layer of tape all onto the circle in the same exact fashion as we did the first group of tape strips. Again, putting them next to each other and then pulling off the one in the center. We do one side and then we do the repeat on the other side. Now we're going to take the same exact color that we used in the first set of stripes and use it for the second set of stripes. Again, I just chose this Waverly chalk paint from Walmart in the color gray. It's actually called steel gray. The beauty of using the tape is you don't have to worry about getting paint on it, as well as if you push it down hard in between the sections, you can make sure that you're not going to get any bleeding. But again, it's okay if it bleeds. We can fix all of that. Now we're going to hit it with the heat gun again and get that section completely dry. Once that is finished, take those first tape strips and we're going to put them over the lines that we have in place. Just look closely. You can see the lighter lines that are underneath the tape. So now we should have 2 sets of tape on the circle. The first set that we just painted, and then the second set. And now we're going to take our darkest color, which of course I chose black, and we're going to just paint in between those squares. And you can either just brush over everything, or you can choose to brush each individual square. I was just feeling my finger down the row, making sure again that my tape is all down well so that I can help avoid any bleeding of the black square into the other sections. Once this is done, we're going to use that heat gun again, and we're going to dry this section completely thoroughly. Then we start pulling up our tape to see what we've got underneath. This is always the thrilling part. It's always exciting to see what you get when you pull off your tape. But be sure to be patient and get all of it dry before you try to pull up the tape, or you will get extra bleeding. And here is where we forgive ourselves for all of the places where there's a little bit of bleeding. I went ahead and took a smaller artist brush and the black paint, and I'm painting inside the rim of the pizza pan. So this is going to help just really make the entire piece pop, as well as cover any of those imperfections that comes from painting with the tape. Once the entire center is done, I'm going to go ahead and paint the outside top edge of the pizza pan. And this just really brings the whole look together. I love how the black and white pops against the gray stripes. Of course, you can use any pattern of colors, any choice of colors, but these really are the traditional colors. I took the artist brush and dipped it in my gray paint just to kind of clean up some of those lines where any of the colors bled or the squares bled. And you do not have to do this part. You can totally leave it more natural, but I'm a perfectionist to some degree, so sometimes I really like the squares to be all the same. But there are little ways that you can make it look really good without this step. You can take a Sharpie and kind of add some whimsical doodles on the edges of all of the stripes or the squares, and just really make this pattern your own. I'm in love with black and white buffalo check, and knowing that we can paint this on any surface, including circles, is super awesome. I hope you'll try it. If you like this, subscribe today.